The Galactic Council Chamber was the most impressive structure in the known universe. 47 different species gathered in the massive hall. Their seats floated in circles around the central platform. Each species had sent their best diplomats. Today, they would vote on humanity's application to join their community. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez stood on the platform. She wore her formal uniform. The dark blue fabric had gold trim on the shoulders. Her gray hair was pulled back neatly. She had prepared for this moment for 3 years. Earth wanted to join the galaxy. They wanted to trade, learn, and grow with other species. But the council members looked uncomfortable. They whispered to each other. Some of them would not even look at Elena. She felt her stomach tighten. Something was wrong. High Chancellor Moradin rose from his seat. He was a tall being made of flowing silver light. His voice echoed in the chamber. It sounded like wind chimes and thunder at the same time. Ambassador Rodriguez, he began, we have reviewed your application. We have studied your species carefully. We have come to a decision. Elena waited. Her heart pounded in her chest. The council votes to deny humanity's membership. Moradin continued. Furthermore, we classify Earth as a restricted world. The words hit Elena like a physical blow. She gripped the edge of the platform. Around the chamber, holographic displays showed the vote count. It was unanimous. All 47 species voted against humanity. Why? Elena managed to ask. Her voice cracked slightly. A counselor from the Vexarian delegation stood. She looked like a large bird with purple feathers and 4 arms. Her name was Counselor Thys. She was known for speaking her mind. Your world is a Class 12 death world, Thys explained. Only 3 other species in our records evolved on such dangerous planets. Your Earth has mega-predators, deadly diseases, violent weather, earthquakes and volcanoes. Most worlds that dangerous never develop intelligent life, another counselor spoke. This one was from the Litharian species. They looked like walking crystals that changed colors when they talked. Director Velshara's voice sounded like music. Your species shows excessive aggressive tendencies, Velshara said. You have been at war for your entire recorded history. You fight each other over resources, beliefs, and territory. Even now, Earth is not unified. You came here representing only part of your world. Elena wanted to argue. She wanted to tell them that humans had changed, that they were learning, that they wanted peace, but the words stuck in her throat. Moradin raised a glowing hand. The other counselors fell silent. We do not deny that humans are intelligent. You have created remarkable technology. Your art and culture are fascinating. But we must think of the safety of all council species. Humans are too dangerous. You survived your planet's attempts to kill you. You developed weapons before you developed peace. You are unpredictable, he paused. His light dimmed slightly. We fear you would destabilize our peaceful order. The galaxy has known 800 years of peace. We cannot risk that. Therefore, we offer you a choice. Accept the quarantine treaty or face complete isolation. A holographic document appeared in front of Elena. She read through it quickly. The treaty was harsh. Humans could stay in the Sol system. They could have their moon base and Mars colonies. They could trade with a few approved species at specific locations. But they could never expand beyond their own star system. No new colonies. No exploration. No real contact with the galaxy. It was a cage. A golden cage, but still a cage. Elena looked around the chamber. She saw pity in some faces, fear in others. Not a single species would meet her eyes for long. They had made up their minds. Nothing she said would change their vote. She thought about Earth, about the billions of people waiting to hear the news, about the children who dreamed of visiting other worlds, about the scientists who wanted to learn from alien civilizations. With shaking hands, Elena signed the treaty. The holographic signature glowed red for a moment, then turned gold. It was done. Humanity was officially quarantined. This council session is concluded, Moradin announced. The counselors began to leave. They filed out quickly as if eager to forget this uncomfortable meeting. Elena stood alone on the platform. Her jaw was tight. Her hands were fists at her sides. The galaxy called humans monsters, called them too dangerous, too violent, too unpredictable. Maybe they were right. Maybe humanity was all those things. But they were also loyal, brave, capable of great sacrifice. The galaxy would learn that one day. She just hoped it would not be too late when they did. 15 years passed. Earth followed the treaty. Humans built their civilization within their allowed boundaries. They created massive orbital stations around Earth. These stations housed millions of people. They were cities in space with gardens and schools and parks. Mars became a second home. The red planet grew green in spots. Humans terraformed carefully. They built dome cities, underground communities. Water flowed in channels. Trees grew in protected areas. Children were born on Mars who had never seen Earth. The asteroid belt became a mining operation. Automated ships collected resources. Humans built refineries and processing plants. They extracted metals and minerals. The resources fueled their growing civilization, but they also built something else, something the galaxy did not watch as carefully. Humanity developed their military in secret, not to invade, not to conquer, but because it was in their nature to prepare, to be ready for threats. The Terran Armada grew slowly. Their ships used new technology, quantum drives that could fold space, kinetic weapons that hit like asteroids, nuclear missiles with yields that could crack moons, point defense systems that could track thousands of targets, fighter craft designed for human reflexes and endurance. The Council had banned many of these weapons. They called them barbaric, uncivilized, too destructive. But humans had never signed those bans. The Quarantine Treaty did not cover weapon development. Most humans did not think they would ever need these weapons. The galaxy was at peace. The Council handled disputes. Pirates were rare and easily caught. But in military academies on Earth and Mars, instructors taught a simple lesson. Peace did not last forever. Preparation was not aggression. It was wisdom. Admiral Marcus Chen often repeated these words. He commanded the Terran Armada. He had been a young officer when Elena Rodriguez signed the treaty. He remembered the shame, the anger, the feeling of being unwanted. He vowed that humanity would be ready, ready for anything, ready for everything. The galaxy had called them monsters, had locked them away, had feared what they might do. They had no idea what monsters could do when properly motivated. That lesson was coming, sooner than anyone expected. The first colony disappeared on a Tuesday. Colony Epsilon 7, a small mining settlement on the outer rim. 20,000 people lived there, families, children, workers who sent money home to other worlds. Then the signal stopped. No distress call. No warning, just silence. Council security sent a ship to investigate. It took them 3 weeks to arrive. What they found made no sense. The colony was gone. Not destroyed, not damaged, gone. Every building was erased down to the bedrock. The ground was smooth like glass. Nothing remained. Not a body. Not a tool. Not even dust. Director Velshara stared at the report. Her crystal body flickered between red and purple. Those colors meant confusion and fear. She had led Council security for 40 years. She had never seen anything like this. 2 weeks later, another colony went dark. Then another. Then 3 more in the same week. The pattern was clear. Something was moving through Council space. It was destroying colonies along the outer rim, moving inward, getting closer to the core worlds with each attack. The Council emergency session was chaos. 47 species shouted at each other. Some blamed pirates. Others suggested natural disasters. A few whispered about ancient weapons awakening. High Chancellor Moradin's light pulsed bright and angry. Silence. His voice boomed. The chamber went quiet. 12 colonies have been destroyed, 12 in 3 months. We must accept the truth. We are under attack. A Vexarian counselor stood. His purple feathers were ruffled with stress. But who attacks us? We have seen no enemy. No ships, no soldiers. Just dead worlds. Velshar activated a holographic display. Images filled the air. Sensor readings. Energy signatures. Fragment patterns. We have detected traces, she explained. Ships, but not like any we have seen. They are organic. Alive, perhaps. They do not register on our standard sensors. We only see them after they attack. We call them the Silence because they give no warning. She pulled up more data. Projection models. Attack patterns, timelines, they are moving toward our core worlds. If they maintain this pattern, they will reach Council Prime in 6 months. Maybe less. Fear spread through the chamber. Council Prime held 4 billion citizens. It was the heart of galactic civilization. If it fell, the Council would collapse. A military commander stood. He was Krell, a species known for their tactical skills. His shell armor clicked as he moved. We must mobilize our forces. Every ship, every weapon. Velshara shook her crystalline head. I have analyzed our military capability. Our peacekeeping fleet is designed for pirates and smugglers. We have not fought a real war in 800 years. Our weapons are energy-based. They are designed to disable, not destroy. They are clean, precise, civilized." She paused. Her colors shifted to dark blue. "The silence does not respond to our weapons. They absorb energy blasts. Our precision strikes do nothing. We need different weapons, different tactics. We need—" She did not finish the sentence. But everyone understood. Counselor Thys spoke quietly. The old Vexarian had been in the council for decades. She had voted to quarantine humanity 15 years ago. "We need warriors, not peacekeepers. We need someone who knows how to fight for survival, not for victory. For survival," the word hung in the air, unspoken but understood. Humans. Moradin's light flashed red. "No, we will not ask the Deathworlders for help. We rejected them, quarantined them, called them too dangerous. We cannot go to them now." "Pride will not save us," Thys said firmly. "We were wrong to fear them more than we feared real threats. We prepared for peace. They prepared for war. Now war has come." The debate continued for hours. Some counselors agreed with Thys. Others refused to consider asking humans for help. The shame was too great. The risk too high. In the end, they made no decision. They chose to study the problem more, to gather more data, to try their own solutions first. 3 weeks later, 5 more colonies vanished. Then 8. Then 12 in a single night. The silence was accelerating. Learning. Growing stronger. Council fleets engaged them twice. Both battles were massacres. The organic ships moved like living things. They dodged energy weapons. They surrounded council vessels. They tore through shields as if they were paper. Out of 60 ships, only 3 escaped to tell what happened. Velshara watched the battle recordings. She watched council ships die. She watched brave crews give their lives trying to stop an enemy they could not hurt. She made her decision. That night, she accessed the restricted database, the files on humanity, the quarantine protocols, the contact information that was supposed to never be used. She did not send an official message. She could not. The council had not authorized contact. But she was security director. She had access to emergency channels, channels that could not be traced. She composed a simple message, data files, attack patterns, casualties, projections, and 1 line of text. "We were wrong about you. If you are the monsters we feared, then perhaps monsters are what we need now." She sent the message to Sol System, to Earth, to the Deathworlders they had rejected. She did not expect a response. Why would humans help? The council had humiliated them, caged them, treated them like wild animals. But she had to try, because the silence was coming. And the galaxy was not ready to die. Not yet. Dr. Shenna pressed her 4 hands against the console. The research station shook again. Explosions echoed through the walls. She could hear people screaming in the corridors. Research Station Kepler 9 was dying. She knew this. Everyone knew this. The silence had arrived 2 hours ago. Their organic ships looked like nightmares. Dark, writhing, covered in what looked like teeth and eyes. They moved through space like sharks through water. The station's defenses were useless. Energy shields flickered and failed. Weapons fire bounced off the enemy ships or was simply absorbed. The station security forces fought bravely. They died bravely. But they could not win. Shenna was an Oru. Her species was known for being cautious, careful. They thought before they acted. But sometimes thinking was not enough. Sometimes you had to do something desperate. 15 others crowded in the communications hub with her. Scientists, engineers, a few security officers. They all looked at her with hope. She was the senior scientist, the ranking officer now that the commander was dead. "We should send a distress signal to Council Prime," one engineer said. His voice shook with fear. "The Council cannot help us," Shenna replied quietly. "They are 3 days away. We have maybe 3 hours, probably less." She pulled up the restricted database on her console. Her hands shook. What she was about to do was forbidden. The Council had strict rules about contacting quarantined species. Breaking those rules could mean prison, could mean exile. But what did rules matter when you were about to die? She found the file. Sol System, Earth, Humanity, the Deathworlders, the restricted species that the Council feared. "What are you doing?" a security officer asked. He saw the file on her screen. His face went pale. "Something that might get us all arrested," Shenna said. Or might save our lives. Anyone who wants to stop me, speak now. No one spoke. The station shook again. Lights flickered. Emergency alarms wailed. They all knew they had minutes left. Maybe less. Shenna accessed the human contact frequencies. Her console showed her the Sol system coordinates. Earth. The world the Council called too dangerous. The species they called monsters. She began to record. This is Dr. Shenna of Research Station Kepler 9 to Sol system. To Earth, to humanity. We are under attack. The silence is destroying us. The Galactic Council cannot help us in time. I am sending you our coordinates. She paused. Her throat felt tight. Shame burned in her chest. 15 years ago we rejected you. We called you too dangerous. Too violent. We locked you in your system like criminals. We were wrong. We were so wrong. If you can hear this, if any mercy exists in your species, please help us. I know we do not deserve it. I know you owe us nothing, but we are dying, and I'm asking anyway. She transmitted the message. The console showed it leaving the station, racing through space toward Sol system. She had no idea if it would reach anyone. No idea if humans even monitored those frequencies anymore. The others stared at her. Some looked hopeful. Some looked horrified. One engineer was praying in her native language. 3 hours passed. The silence continued their assault. The station fell apart piece by piece. Sections depressurized. Decks went dark. Fires burned in the oxygen-rich areas. The survivors huddled in the communications hub. It was the most protected part of the station. But even it would not last much longer. Shenna watched her console die. Power was failing. The lights dimmed. She closed her eyes. She had tried. They all had tried. But it was not enough. Then the console beeped. Once, weakly, her eyes snapped open. A message incoming. From Sol system. Her hands fumbled at the controls. She pulled up the message. Audio only. The voice was human, male, calm, professional. Kepler 9, this is TAS Indomitable, Terran Armada. We read you loud and clear. Cavalry's coming. ETA 3 hours. Hold the line. We're on our way. Shenna stared at the console. The others pressed around her. They had all heard it. What's cavalry? The engineer asked. I do not know, Shenna whispered. But I think it means help is coming. In Sol system, alarms wailed through the Terran Armada headquarters. Admiral Marcus Chen stood in the command center. Holographic displays showed him everything. The message from Kepler 9, the coordinates. The tactical situation. His officers gathered around him. They waited for his orders. This was the moment, the decision that would change everything. A younger admiral spoke. Sir, the council rejected us. They locked us in our system. They called us monsters. Why should we help them now? Chen looked at the tactical display. 300 people on that station. Dying. Calling for help. He thought about Elena Rodriguez, the ambassador who had signed the quarantine treaty with shaking hands and burning eyes. She had taught him something before she retired. She said that humanity's strength was not in their weapons or their technology. It was in their hearts. In their ability to help even when help was not deserved. They called us monsters, Chen said quietly. Maybe they were right. But monsters can be heroes too. Monsters can save lives. Deploy the 3rd Fleet, 47 ships. All weapons hot. Quantum jump to Kepler 9 maximum speed. The officers saluted and ran to their stations. Throughout Sol system, ships powered up. The 3rd Fleet was humanity's rapid response force. Fast, deadly, ready for anything. Chen opened a channel to all ships. Attention all vessels. 15 years ago, the galaxy rejected us. Today, the galaxy is calling for help. Some of you might be angry. Some of you might want revenge. I understand. But we are not going there for revenge. We are going there because someone called. Someone asked for help. And when that happens, we answer. That is what humanity does. That is what makes us different. Prepare for combat. Chen out. The ships formed up. Quantum drives powered. Space folded. The fleet vanished. 3 hours later, they would arrive at Kepler 9. 3 hours later, the galaxy would learn what Deathworlders could do. 3 hours later, everything would change. Space tore open. Reality folded. 47 human ships emerged from quantum jump right in the middle of the battle. The silence had surrounded research station Kepler 9. Their organic ships pulsed and writhed. They were preparing for the final assault. The station was barely functional. Life support was failing. The survivors huddled in the communications hub and prayed. Then the humans arrived. The TAS Indomitable led the formation. It was a massive dreadnought. Dark gray armor, weapons bristling from every surface. Behind it came destroyers, cruisers, and frigates. Smaller ships darted between them. Fighters, bombers, ships designed for human pilots who could handle extreme forces. On the Indomitable's bridge, Captain Sarah Okafor watched the tactical display. She had been a fighter pilot before commanding capital ships. She understood combat. She understood violence. All ships weapons free, she ordered. Show them what monsters can do. The Terran Armada opened fire. Mass drivers spoke first. These were not energy weapons. They were kinetic weapons. Chunks of metal accelerated to incredible speeds. When they hit like asteroids. The Silence's organic armor, which absorbed energy so easily, could not stop physical matter moving at a fraction of light speed. The first salvo tore through 3 enemy ships. They exploded. Not cleanly, not quickly. They came apart in pieces, writhing, screaming somehow. Dark fluid sprayed into space. Then the missiles launched. Nuclear-tipped. The Council had banned these weapons 600 years ago. Called them barbaric. Too destructive. But humans had never signed that ban. White light filled space. The explosions were miniature stars. Heat, radiation, pressure waves that crushed everything nearby. 6 more enemy ships died in nuclear fire. The Silence tried to respond. Their organic weapons reached out. Energy tendrils. Biological missiles. Strange attacks that had devastated Council ships. But human ships moved differently. They did not fly in neat formations. They scattered, dodged, broke every rule of traditional space combat. Their pilots pulled maneuvers that would kill most species. 12G turns, sudden stops, wild spins. But humans could handle it. Their bodies were built for Earth's heavy gravity. For surviving forces that would crush weaker beings. Fighter squadrons swept through enemy formations. Their weapons were projectile-based. Cannons, missiles, explosives, simple, brutal, effective. They hit weak points. Engine clusters. What looked like eyes or sensors. They did not try to disable enemy ships. They tried to destroy them. On Research Station Kepler-9, the survivors watched through the damaged sensors. They saw the battle. They could not believe what they were seeing. They're insane, the engineer whispered. No species fights like that. They're going to kill themselves, but the humans did not die. They lost ships. 3 destroyers, a cruiser, several fighters. But they kept fighting. Every time a ship was damaged, it broke off and another took its place. Coordinated chaos, controlled violence. The Silence began to retreat. For the first time since they appeared, they ran. Their ships tried to escape, tried to fold space and jump away. The humans did not let them. Destroyers launched pursuit packages. Small ships designed for one purpose, chase down fleeing enemies. They caught the Silence vessels as they tried to jump. Mass drivers fired at point-blank range. Missiles detonated inside enemy hulls. 20 minutes after the battle began, it was over. The Silence fleet was destroyed. Every ship. Not disabled. Not captured. Destroyed. Debris floated in space. Dark. Smoking. Still twitching. The human fleet formed up around the station. The Indomitable moved close. Captain Okafor opened a channel. Kepler-9, this is Indomitable. We're sending boarding parties. Medical teams, engineers, hold tight. We've got you. 30 minutes later, human Marines entered the communications hub. They wore powered armor, carried weapons that looked ancient and deadly, but they moved carefully. Spoke softly, helped the injured. Dr. Shenana stared at the Marine who helped her stand. He was tall, dark skin, kind eyes. He smiled at her. You're safe now, ma'am, he said. We're taking you to the Indomitable. Get you patched up. You came, Shenna whispered. Her voice broke. After everything we did to you, you came. The Marine's smile faded. He looked serious. You called for help. That's all that matters. 2 days later, Admiral Chen reviewed the battle data. His analysts had torn apart every sensor reading, every piece of debris, every fragment they could recover. What they found was disturbing. The Silence fleet at Kepler-9 was a scouting force, small, weak. The real fleet was massive. Thousands of ships, maybe tens of thousands, and they were heading toward Council space, toward the core worlds. Chen stood in his office. He looked at Earth through the window. His home. The world the galaxy had rejected. He opened a secure channel. Direct to the Galactic Council. To High Chancellor Moradin himself. The hologram appeared. Moradin's light was dim. Tired. He looked like he had aged years and months. Admiral Chen, the Chancellor said quietly. We heard about Kepler 9, thank you. We did not deserve your help. No, Chen agreed. You did not. But that is not why we came. Chancellor, we have analyzed the enemy. This is not over. This was a scouting party. The main fleet is coming, and you cannot stop it. Your weapons, your tactics, your philosophy, none of it will work against the silence. Moradin's light flickered. What are you saying? I am saying we can help. We can fight. We can win. But we need full access to council space. Supply routes. Strategic coordination. No more quarantine. No more restrictions. You need us, and we are willing to help, but not as outcasts, not as monsters you keep caged. The Chancellor was silent for a long moment. You are asking us to trust you after we rejected you. No, Chen said. I am telling you that you have no choice. The silence is coming. Your people will die, unless you accept our help, unless you let the monsters save you. Moradin's light brightened, hardened. I will call an emergency council session. I will recommend full cooperation. But Admiral, if you betray this trust, we won't, Chen said firmly. That is not who we are. We fight for those who cannot fight. We protect those who need protecting, even when they do not deserve it. Especially then. The hologram faded. Chen turned back to the window. To Earth. The Death Worlders were going to war. The galaxy would learn what monsters could do. And maybe, just maybe, they would learn what monsters really were. Heroes. 3 months. That was how long the war lasted. The Terran Armada deployed across council space. They moved like nothing the galaxy had seen. Fast, aggressive, unpredictable. They did not wait for the silence to attack. They hunted them. Dr. Shenna watched from the bridge of the Indomitable. She had become a liaison officer. A bridge between council species and humans. She tried to help them understand each other. It was not easy. Humans fought in ways that horrified council observers. They took risks, made sacrifices, did things that seemed insane. At the Battle of Shandara 7th, a human destroyer sacrificed itself. It rammed an enemy carrier organism at full speed. The explosion destroyed both ships, but it saved a council colony of 2 million people. Council commanders called it wasteful. Humans called it necessary. At the mining colonies in the Kresh sector, humans did something even stranger. Instead of evacuating the miners, they rigged the entire asteroid field as a trap. Thousands of nuclear mines hidden waiting. When the silence arrived, the humans detonated everything. The asteroid field became a storm of nuclear fire. 3 enemy carrier organisms died. The mining colony was destroyed. But the miners had already been evacuated secretly. The silence thought they were winning. They were wrong. Council strategists called it reckless. Humans called it warfare. One thing confused the council more than anything. The humans broadcast music during battles. Loud, aggressive, heavy metal. War drums, ancient battle songs, why? Shenna asked Captain Okafor one day. Why the music? Okafor smiled. Because it reminds us we're alive. Because it makes us brave. Because humans have always gone to war with songs. It's who we are. The silence seemed confused by it too. Their hive-mind coordination faltered when faced with human chaos. They expected logic, strategy, predictability. They got screaming metal music and suicide runs instead, but the true test came when the Silence's main fleet arrived at Council, Prime, the heart of galactic civilization. 4 billion people, the capital of everything. The enemy brought 40,000 ships, organic nightmares, bigger, stronger, more coordinated than anything seen before. The Council fleet had 12,000 vessels. The Terran Armada brought 4,000. The math was simple. They would lose. Admiral Chen stood in the command center. He looked at the tactical display. At the impossible odds, at the billions of lives depending on him. He activated Protocol Thermopylae, named after an ancient Earth battle. 300 warriors held a narrow pass against millions. They all died, but they bought time for their people to escape. The plan was simple. The human fleet would hold a dimensional corridor, a narrow point in space where quantum jumps formed. The council ships would evacuate civilians through it. The humans would hold the corridor for as long as possible. Against overwhelming odds, Chen knew the numbers. Statistical analysis said 70% of his fleet would not survive, maybe more, but 4 billion people would live. It was worth it. The battle began at dawn. Council Prime's sun was rising as the silence arrived. Their fleet blocked out the stars. A dark wave of organic death. The human fleet formed a wall. 4,000 ships, weapons hot, engines burning. Between the silence and the corridor, all ships, Chen broadcast. Today we show the galaxy what Deathworlders are made of. Not because we want glory, not because we seek victory, but because people need us. Because children are evacuating right now. Because billions depend on us holding this line, so we hold, for as long as it takes. No retreat. No surrender. For Earth, for humanity. For everyone, the silence charged. A wave of darkness, writhing, screaming, hungry. The humans met them with fire. The battle lasted 18 hours. 18 hours of continuous combat. Ships exploded, burned, died, but the line held. Every time a ship fell, another took its place. Human crews fought until their ships were wrecks. Then they evacuated to other ships and kept fighting. On the indomitable, Shenna watched in horror and awe. She saw human ships sacrifice themselves to save council vessels. Saw fighters ram enemy warships to protect evacuation transports. Saw destroyers burn and break but refuse to retreat. "They're dying," she whispered. "So many are dying." "But they're not breaking," Captain Okafor said quietly. Her face was tight. Tears ran down her cheeks, but her voice was steady. "That's the difference. We don't break." After 18 hours, the evacuation was complete. 4 billion people safe. The council fleet reformed and returned. Fresh ships, full weapons. They joined the battered human fleet. Together they pushed back. The silence, weakened by the brutal fight, broke. Their coordination shattered. Their fleet scattered. The combined force hunted them down, destroyed them, ended the threat. When the last enemy ship exploded, Chen sat in his command chair. His fleet was gone. Of 4,000 ships, only 800 remained. 31,000 people dead. 31,000 names to add to the memorial. But 4 billion people lived. The council survived. The galaxy was saved. 6 months later, the Galactic Council convened. Every species attended, every seat filled. They had called this session to vote on humanity's status. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez stood on the platform again. She was older now, her hair completely white, but her eyes were still sharp, still proud. High Chancellor Moradin rose. His light was bright, strong. He looked different, humbled. 15 years ago, we stood in this chamber and rejected humanity. We called you dangerous, violent, unstable. We were right. You are all those things. But we misunderstood what that meant. He gestured around the chamber. You became dangerous because your world tried to kill you. You became violent because peace was not enough to survive. You became unstable because predictability meant death. You learned to fight, not for conquest, not for glory, but for survival. And when we faced extinction, you fought for us too. Counselor Thys stood. The old Vixarian looked at Elena. We called you monsters. We were wrong. Monsters destroy. You protect. Monsters take, you give. We have seen what you sacrificed. We have counted your dead. 31,000 humans died to save billions of us. Moradin raised his hands. We now vote on humanity's membership in the Galactic Council. Full membership. Full rights. A permanent seat. Those in favor? Every species voted yes, unanimous like before. But this time in the opposite direction. Elena stood quietly. She felt tears on her face. She let them fall. We accept, she said. Her voice was strong, clear. But understand this. We did not fight for membership. We did not sacrifice for recognition. We did it because you called for help. Because when someone needs protecting, you protect them. That's what humanity does. That's what we learned on our death world. Life is precious, all life, and you defend it with everything you have, she paused. Looked around the chamber. You never wanted us in your galaxy, but we came anyway. Not as conquerors, not as destroyers, as guardians, as protectors, as the monsters who became heroes, and we will always answer when called. Always. The council stood, all of them. A standing ovation for the species they had rejected, for the monsters who saved them. Later, Admiral Chen stood at the memorial on Mars. 31,000 names carved in black stone. He placed his hand on the cold surface. "We did it," he whispered. "They never wanted us. But we showed them who we really are. Not monsters. Not killers. Protectors. Heroes. Humans." Behind him, the first colony ships prepared to launch. Humans would spread across the galaxy now. Not to conquer. Not to dominate. To explore, to learn. To protect. The Deathworlders had found their place. As the galaxy's guardians. As the ones who answered the call. As the species who proved that strength without compassion was weakness. And compassion without strength was useless. They were both. Strong and compassionate. Dangerous and kind. Monsters and heroes, they were human. And the galaxy was better for it,